Usyk taking care of Fury. I know your dad very much in the camp of Fury, but so many people said at the end of it, 116, 112, come on, all three. Where did you stand on it? Because you know the boxing game inside out.
As I watched it live, I had it a draw. Honestly and truthfully, I did have it a draw. And when you've got such a close fight like that, it's so nip and tuck.
Yeah.
A round or two either way, you couldn't have argued. And it's the same as the first fight. There's 24 rounds, and if it was 12 each, you could. Those two guys will always have a close fight.
What did you make of it, Moses? Did you see it? You're still in the arena. You waited, obviously.
Yeah. If I'll be honest, I thought Usyk won the fight, fair and square. The judges' scorecards, I don't really know how many rounds it was, but I would say, it was pretty close, but I would give it to Usyk.
I think for me, the issue arises is this actual, when you look at the scorecards, I mean, the last 6 rounds, I think 2 of the judges didn't give Tyson a round. And it's just anyone watching that, that's just not right. And I think that's where sometimes boxing lets itself down, when it is that wide, and you sort of think, okay, if you make a massive argument for Usyk winning, but it's not by 4 rounds.
I think that's the debate now, isn't it? In boxing, and it's what's coming up all the time, and so much. It is the fact that you're looking at that fight and you go, who won? I'm with Moses. I thought Alexander Usyk won the fight, and you go, the controversy surrounds it is by how far he won it and how wide he won it. The fact is, I think the right man won the fight, but you're going 116, 112, that's probably too wide. But if the scorecards were 115, 112, 115, 113, you're not going to argue with it. So all it is subjective scoring, I think, and the judges' scorecards 116, 112 were probably a little wide.
Yeah. Simon, I think I heard you say during the break, regards Moses here, he's yet to take one in the chin. He hasn't taken one right in the whiskers yet, and we'll see how he reacts when that happens. How might you react, Moses, when that happens? Because no one's managed to stick one on you yet.
I mean, it's best not to find out, isn't it? So.
I think, to be fair, to back Moses up on that one, when you're looking at him sparring people like Lawrence Okoli when he's 11 years of age, and Lawrence Okoli, trust me, is a very heavy-handed kid, and the people like Anthony Joshua in the gym on a regular basis, trust me, he would have taken one on the chin, so they know whether he can take a shot on or not. And I think that would be my answer. But Simon asked me when I was walking out the door, but is he taking one on the whisker? Trust me, he can take one. He can take one.
It'll be interesting to see what happens when he does under the lights, because it's a different dynamic. At this moment in time, it's one-way traffic. I do not dispute the fact that he'll be able to take it. It'll be an interesting dynamic, because he is going to take it at some point, and we're going to see it. Because right now, what we've got is a wrecking ball. We've got a contained ferocity. We've got someone that replicates a fighter that everyone looks back to. And again, the Tyson analogy. The reason why it is, it's a compliment, because in 1986, when Tyson landed on the scene, he was remarkable. And Moses has all those characteristics, but he's our fighter. And his destiny is his own.
Yeah.
And so I'm interested to see what happens in all circumstances. For him to be the best in the world, he's going to have to beat the best. And the best aren't going to just roll over. I mean, if he does what Tyson did back in '86, which is knocks out Berbick, knocks out Spinks, and he may well do, and that question may never be answered.
Yeah.
But it's just an interesting dynamic.
While we still have you, Francis, and you, Moses, I'll put this to you. After both facing fights against Usyk, and I'm talking about Joshua and Fury, and both losing on both occasions, has Fury's standing and reputation been degraded as much as Joshua's has?
Do you want to go first with that one?
I'm not going to lie, I don't really understand the question.
Well, who has come off worse in terms of criticism? Joshua lost twice and got hammered for it. Fury's lost twice and maybe hasn't been castigated as much as Joshua has been.
Sorry, go on.
I think the fights with Fury were much closer. I think they were like I said, a little while ago, they were nip and tuck, and you could have made a case for Tyson winning both fights. That's not the case with both the Anthony Joshua fights. Alexander nearly got Anthony out there at White Hart Lane. I think he wasn't far off getting stopped in that, and then Anthony thought he won the second fight over in, I think it was in Jeddah, wasn't it? And obviously, and then he did it after the fight.
Usyk almost got Fury out in the first fight.
He did, but I tell you what, he didn't knock him over, and it was still a close fight because of how well he performed in the first half of that fight. First fight.
In Joshua's defence, though, he lost that second one by a split decision. He done a lot better, considerably better in the second one than he did the first one. Yeah. I think the argument here again is, the public perception of those fights. And you look at that and you go, right, yeah, Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk, 2 great fights, 2 close fights, accepted. But Anthony Joshua, when he lost the split decision in the second one, got absolutely ripped to pieces. And I thought that was unfair.
Do you, Moses, do you think it was unfair that AJ took heavier criticism for the 2 losses to Usyk than Fury has done?
I mean, at the end of the day, whether they lost by unanimous, whether split, whether knockout, they still lost the fight. So I feel like people are putting too much importance on scorecards and XYZ and criticism. All in all, he lost the fight.
I think the argument is, like, why would Anthony Joshua get ripped to pieces as much as he did, as opposed to
it wasn't the fight, was it?
It
was what happened.
I know what happened after the fight. I totally get that.
And Fury got
had he nodded and said, "Well done,"
Fury got slaughtered for his performance against Ngannou. And Anthony Joshua got lauded. Right, so you've got 2 extremes. You've got an MMA fighter going in there dealing with Tyson Fury and putting him on his arse, and then you've got Anthony going in and cleaning him out, which should have happened between Fury. So they both got their degradation because they both.
They've both taken their licks, definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
100% for whatever performances people want to criticise. Tyson didn't have the best night against Ngannou, but I thought he boxed terrifically well in the first fight against Alexander, and and the second one was a chess match.
But don't you find that bizarre? As both those guys have transformed British boxing and taking it into a new generation and brought it into the mainstream, Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, but yet the public still want to rip them to pieces. You look at their achievements and what they've done, that's brilliant.
I think you're going a bit over the top in the criticism that they receive. I think if you ask the average man on the street, they are national heroes. They are sporting heroes of Great Britain, and I think that it'll just be the sort of sometimes the cesspool of social media that will be where the main criticism lies, and that's easy, just to turn your phone over. Don't worry about that. Go to the average man on the street, and those 2 guys are national heroes.
Yeah. Nonetheless, the man to my right said if we see Joshua against Fury in 2025, it could be termed as the battle of the also-rans.
No,
they're both coming off defeats.
Yeah, but it's two,
I know what they've done, Francis. We all know what they've done.
2 British sporting icons, fighting out at the National Stadium. It would be a phenomenal event, and I think all the great teams over the years for football teams, they have their bad seasons. They have their, this has just been a tricky period for both of the guys.
But you've got to accept that is the biggest fight in world boxing 100%. Right now, without a doubt. Even though they're both coming off defeats, that is the biggest fight in world boxing, without a doubt.
Depends what you think biggest fights are. If you're
financially, commercially,
yes. Agreed.
To the casual.
If we're talking about the jeopardy of a fight, we're talking about the meaning of it. These 2 guys strolled through the boxing pantheons as 2 heavyweight champions of the world that were at the top of their trade. They're no longer at the top of their trade.
But you're speaking as a purist. I'm talking about the casual fan, what the public would like to see.
But everyone's got to think about. I speak about it from my own perspective, not others. I look at it and say it is the battle of the also-rans because the heavyweight division is moving on. I don't think, and I hope to be wrong, that either one of those guys is going to regain a heavyweight championship of the world belt. So that makes them also rans in the comparison of the life they've led. But Anthony Joshua wanted to be 3 times heavyweight champion of the world. Tyson Fury went back into that.
You don't think that's a possibility still?
No, I don't.
See, I think the landscape of heavyweight boxing changed all the time.
I think by the time he gets a shot, he might be there. And
let me jump in here, guys. Spencer, let me jump in, Simon, because we'll finish off the show between 1:45 and 1 o'clock. Well, we've got Moses for the remaining seconds. If Joshua fights Fury, Moses, and you know this game inside out now, who wins it?
I think it's very easy for me to give a political answer, say the fans, but
very good.
You've been around one day too long.
Go on. Do you want to finish it?
I don't know. It's a good fight. Depends on which Fury. Depends on which Joshua turns up, innit?
But you don't see it as a battle of the also-rans?
No, because they've both. Listen, they've all got probably 50, 60 wins between them, and they've only got like 3 or 4 losses between them. So it's like. You can't really call them. So
do you think they're both going to win a world title again?
I mean, they could.
Right.
I think they could.
Yeah.
I think they could, but I don't think they will.
In a couple of sentences,
so that makes them also rans then.
Is your goal to do a Joe Calzaghe? From this point until the very end, no matter who you fight, you go undefeated?
No, I don't pay too much attention to that. I feel like as long as I held myself in good accountability, I mean, there's a lot of fights that, let's say if I'm winning, I can just, put my hands up in the air, do you know what I mean? Like, run around the ring. I don't want to do that. I want to be like, when my career's all said and done, there wasn't one boring Moses Itauma fight. And I mean, like, listen, I'm not going to be stupid, but at the same time, I don't really put too much importance on staying undefeated.
Okay, Moses, thank you for coming in again. Francis, thanks for bringing him. Can't wait to see this fella in action again. Francis Warren alongside, and remember the name. Well, you know the name. Of course, we all do now. Moses Itauma with us live here in studio.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.